NATO and Ukraine have begun major naval exercises in the Black Sea as tensions with Russia run high. Ukraine's Navy posted these images as the maneuvers open. The U.S. and Kiev are leading the drills involving more than 30 countries. They'll last 2 weeks. The alliance says they're intended to showcase its commitment to collective defense. Russia annexed the region's Crimean Peninsula back in 2014 and sees the exercise as a provocation. All right, for more now, we want to bring in Dr. Sidharth Kaushal. He is a research fellow at the Royal United Services Institute in London. He's an expert, too, on naval and marine forces. It's good to have you on the program. This year's drills are the biggest of their kind since they began back in 1997. What does this tell us, then, about the situation in that region?
Well, I think it tells us a few things. I mean, firstly, it's, I think, not coincidental that the drills of these size come on the back of Russian suggestions that it might close off parts of the Black Sea, such as the Sea of Azov, to foreign vessels for a 6-month period. They also come on the back of a fairly concerted, sort of undeclared blockade of Ukrainian shores by the Russian Navy. So in many ways, an exercise of this scope and size, as well as of this multilateral nature, is a way of showcasing the alliance's commitment to freedom of navigation in the area.
And what do you make of Moscow's reaction and its warning that it would closely monitor these maneuvers?
Yeah, so I mean, there's nothing terribly new about that. You know, Russia tends to monitor NATO maneuvers as a matter of course, and occasionally engages in sub-threshold provocations. For example, in previous exercises in the high north, it engaged in GPS jamming. So in some ways, Moscow's warnings and its sort of threats to monitor these exercises are not necessarily new. It is worth noting the Russian MOD spokesman when raising the issue paid a particular focus to the amphibious and special forces components of these exercises, suggesting that this aspect of it is what Russia considers perhaps most risky to its own territorial claims in the region, perhaps because they might in the long term jeopardize its foothold in illegally seized territories.
Do you think, then, that Russia sees the potential that possibly its territories could be invaded from the sea?
I mean, that is certainly the claim that, you know, the MOD spokesman, General Konashenkov, suggested. Now, that may be a careful misdirection on Russia's part, a sort of justification for assertive behavior on its own part, including, you know, efforts to disrupt or harass sort of foreign vessels as they conduct these activities. But, you know, so we could take them with a grain of salt, but they may also reflect perhaps Russian misgivings and fears about its long-term ability to hold on to territory seized in the region.
Okay, Dr. Sidharth Kaushal from the Royal United Services Institute in London. We appreciate your time and your insights tonight. Thank you.
My pleasure.